May I have your attention, please? As people are taking their seats, let me welcome you. I'm Robert Hutchings. I'm Dean of the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you here to this evening's events. One of our goals here at the LBJ School is to reinforce our ongoing commitment to inform the conversations surrounding complex issues in today's world, and to look for opportunities to engage our wider community in these same issues and conversations. Tonight's forum that examines high-stakes testing and accountability in public education offers just such an opportunity. To the parents, students, teachers, principals, superintendents, legislators, civic and business leaders, and to the many others here this evening who care deeply about public education, let me also note that it is fitting that this forum take place here in the LBJ School. President Johnson's Elementary and Secondary Education Act was among the boldest reforms in higher education in our country's history. This evening's forum will bring to the conversation much of the groundbreaking research on education policy that faculty members and alumni of the University of Texas at Austin are leading, with the hope of better guiding policy development and reforms in the coming legislative session. I owe a special thanks to my colleague, Carolyn Heinrich, Sid Richardson Professor of Public Affairs and Affiliated Professor of Economics, and the Director of our Center for Health and Social Policy at the LBJ School, for spearheading this effort. Professor Heinrich has been engaged in education, workforce development, and social policy research for more than 20 years, and was a member of the National Academy of Sciences committee that conducted an extensive 10-year study of test-based accountability in education. She is also the principal investigator on a large-scale research project funded by the U.S. Department of Education, Institute of Education Sciences, that is studying schools and districts that are not making adequate yearly progress under the requirements of No Child Left Behind. It gives me great pleasure to introduce your moderator for what is sure to be an informative and engaging session, Professor Carolyn Heinrich.
I first want to start out by saying thank you to all of you who came out tonight. I know a Monday, a start of the week, is a busy night for most people, but also many of you helped to spread the word about this forum. I especially want to thank our co-sponsors, the Center for Mexican American Studies, the Institute for Urban Policy Research and Analysis, and the Texas Center for Education Policy at the University of Texas. I also want to extend a special thanks to all of you who are working at the grassroots level, such as the Texans Advocating for Meaningful Student Assessment and many other community-based efforts you've done the work of bringing public attention to these issues, and that's why we're here tonight. I also just want to take this opportunity to ask you to please silence your phone at this time, but you should feel free to tweet if you're a tweeter. The hashtag is LBJMU for measuring up. I also would like to ask any members of the legislature or those who are here representing them to please stand so the public knows that you're here, you care about these issues, and they can also look for you at the reception. So would you please stand if you're here, associated with the Texas State Legislature, either representative or here on the behalf of your representative. We're here tonight because we have shared concerns about the use of high-stakes testing in Texas public schools as a means to hold schools, educators, and students accountable for their performance. We're not here because we're against any and all testing or accountability in principle, but many of us think that we haven't gotten this right in our current Texas education system. Some of you may be aware that currently 787 school districts, that's 76% of all Texas school districts, which includes 85% of all public school students, have adopted a resolution that explicitly states, and I'm going to paraphrase parts of it. You should read the entire resolution because it's really well thought out and meaningful. I'm going to paraphrase. They do not oppose accountability in public schools, but they're asking the Texas legislature to re-examine the public school accountability system to develop one that encompasses multiple assessments, reflects greater validity, is more cost efficient and more accurately reflects what students know, enhances the role of teachers, and importantly, nurtures the sense of inquiry and the love of learning in all students. We have recognized that the tests are limited and imperfect measures of learning, whether in the form of 12 end-of-course tests, the SAT, or whatever measure you pick. Errors and misuse could enter in at many points, from the design to administration to our analysis of the results. Yet we're investing in accountability, this accountability tool, like it's a magic bullet, and we're bringing it down on our schools like a mallet with the high-stakes consequences that we are attaching to them. Texas is spending far more heavily on testing than any other state. Our panelists, I'm sure many of you, our audience as well, will tell us more about the other costs of testing besides those that can be monetized. There's a very important principle that we try to observe in the medical sciences as well as the social sciences, and that also applies to our measurement of students through testing. And that principle is do no harm. Unfortunately, you will also hear about some of the harms tonight of our current system, including withdrawal, dampened motivation to learn, and reduced graduation rates, as well as others. Finally, I want to say before I introduce our panelists, we hope to launch a conversation that's going to continue into the coming legislative session about how our education policies can be meaningfully changed for the good of our students and for society. We cannot let this opportunity slip by. Even Chester Finn Jr., who's been a leading conservative on education policy, has sounded an alarm, and he states, "America is awash in achievement data, yet the truth about our educational performance is far from transparent and trustworthy. It turns out that there's far less to trust here than we, you, and lawmakers have assumed. Indeed, the policy implications are sobering." I'm now going to introduce our panelists this evening in the order that they'll be speaking. We're going to try to quickly move through our initial comments to give you the opportunity to engage with us. First is Dr. Dr. Angela Valenzuela. She is a professor of cultural studies in the education program in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction and the Education Policy and Planning program within the Department of Educational Administration at the University of Texas at Austin. Come on out, Angela. She also serves as the director of the University of Texas Center for Education Policy. She's the author of Subtractive Schooling, U.S.-Mexican Youth and the Politics of Carrying and Leaving Children Behind, How Texas-Style Accountability Fails Latino Youth. Next is Dr. Linda McNeil. She's a professor of education and co-director of the Rice University Center for Education. She's the author of Contradictions of Control, School Structure and School Knowledge, and the Contradictions of School Reform, Educational Costs of Standardized Testing. Her forthcoming publications include a volume of her research papers, Numbers and Power, Standardization and the Retreat from Democracy in American Education, as well as a co-authored study on the impact of standardized accountability on the increasing dropout problem. Linda? We're also very fortunate to have with us Commissioner Tom Pauken. He is Commissioner representing employers for the Texas Workforce Commission, where he has served since being appointed by Governor Rick Perry in March 2008. Commissioner Pauken also served as the Texas Workforce Commission chairman until April 30th of this year. He has been actively convening employers, educators, and other civic and business leaders to gain a better understanding of their views of the current education economy system and its impacts on the state. Welcome, Commissioner Pauken. Representative Jimmy Don Aycock was elected in 2006 to serve in the Texas legislature, representing House District 54, which includes Western Bell, Lampess, and Burnett counties. Representative Aycock is a member of the Appropriations Committee, where he serves on the Subcommittee on Education and chairs the Subcommittee on Current Fiscal Condition. He also serves on the Public Education Committee. He was recently appointed to co-chair the Joint Select Committee on Public School Finance. Representative Aycock. Todd Williams is the founding executive director of Commit, a nonprofit supporting educational efforts throughout Dallas County. He also currently serves as education policy advisor to Dallas Mayor Mike Rawlings and chair of the Dallas ISD's Citizen Budget Review Commission. With his wife Abby, Todd chairs the Regional Advisory Board for Teach for America in Dallas-Fort Worth and has helped establish the Williams Preparatory School, a K-12 free public charter school in Northwest Dallas. He was previously a partner and global head of Goldman Sachs Real Estate Private Equity Investment Area, retiring from there in 2009 after a 20-year career with Goldman Sachs. Todd. And finally, I'm pleased to introduce to you Dr. David Anthony, who assumed the position of Chief Executive Officer of Raise Your Hand Texas on July 15, 2011. Prior to this position, he worked in public education in Louisiana and Texas for 37 years. From 2004 to 2011, he served as superintendent of the Cypress Fairbanks ISD, the third largest school district in Texas. He has served a total of 24 years as a superintendent in 5 Texas districts. Dr. Anthony, thank you very much.